Hey everyone, it's Failed back at it with an Awaken Chaos Era video, and in this one I'm going to be going over my updated tier list. A lot of people have been asking about the tier list, and I just figured I'd make an updated video going over a couple of the characters that have changed over the past few weeks, and also just reintroducing the tier list because a ton of people have been asking me about it. So if you are enjoying this content, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and head over to the spreadsheet. So here we are at the tier list. I just want to mention there is, 42 people on right now. That's absolutely insane. Thank you all for, supporting the content. But this is attached to my entirety of all my spreadsheets. It's on my XP Jelly calculator. So if you want to check out the other sheets, be sure to check out the other videos. And if you don't see the spreadsheet initially, just click on the tabs on the bottom left. It'll be the updated tier list. One because this is the tier list. So a couple of things before we jump into explaining some of the changes to the tier list and some of the things where I rated the previous nerfs and buff characters. This is a tier list. It's subjective. There is going to be, disagreements and such. And obviously these ratings are periodically changing because the more we experience these characters, the more I can get use out of these characters, the difference the rating changes, the better you get, the obviously more use you have for some of these characters in the game. And then secondly, I have Brand in here. I've done some minor testing on Brand, the Brilliant. So this is just kind of like an initial impression score. And then Okubi is also here. And Okubi is purely theoretical. I've not tested him. I've not seen content on him. So just to keep that in mind. All the other characters on here I have done extensive testing on, or watched content on, or both, typically both. And then of course, research on them all. So let's go over a couple of the characters that have changed a little bit because of their recent patch notes. And the first one up is Abaddon. And honestly, Abaddon took a pretty big hit. He's still a solid damage dealer, but the real treat of Abaddon was that he was extending all the debuffs and he was doing massive damage. They've now since changed it to where he's doing a good increase of damage, but not the same levels until you get to Ascension 2, and it appears that was a bug. But then they also changed it so that he does no longer extend poisons and bleeds and such like that, which is one of the main uses of him. And so he's taking quite a bit of a hit, and really that's where his guild boss rating drops. He used to be an absolute 10 monster for every guild boss, but because he's not extending these debuffs, he's doing significantly less. He's still a solid damage dealer. He's just not like the same amazing character. And honestly, I've started to recommend people kind of just go for the potions in Arena Store because he's taking quite a bit of a hit. And then we have another one that has changed quite a bit since my initial video, and that's Desmond. Desmond has been an absolute monster in Void Tower and Queen, also really solid in Tulpa. I plan on building a Tulpa team with him soon, and actually in Witch, I plan on building a Witch 12 team and trying to make use of Desmond there. Now, Witch and Dragon are not on here because I've not done so much testing on them, but he's an absolute monster for Void Tower and for Queen, so keep that in mind. Now let's go ahead and go over some of the epics that were changed. First off is William. Now William, I've actually boosted in some of his rankings since the previous video, even after the nerf, because I've gotten much more use out of William through my testing, and he is just an absolute crazy character. His nerf has not affected him at all. There's some areas where you'll feel the nerf, certainly, but I think his ratings have actually gone up because I have been more experienced with William, and I have been finding uses for him where otherwise I did not find uses for him. A perfect example for this is Toppo. Previously, I think I had him rated as a 6 or a 7, and now I have him rated as a 9 because I found a speed comp that William is really solid for, and we were able to beat Toppo 12 in like 50 seconds. It was an absolute nuts comp, and so William is even getting use in areas that I previously had not seen uses for him. So the more experience we get on the game, the more these ratings change. And honestly, William has just gotten better and better the more I tested him. Another one will be Vance. So Vance has actually gone up quite a bit in two specific areas, and that is Arena and in Queen. He now has quite a bit of damage for Queen. Also Guild Boss, he's doing really solid numbers. And then Arena Offense, he can really just pincer one tanky character on the enemy team and just absolutely annihilate them. So Vance has gone up. The only problem with Vance is he is really solid for Arena Offense, but you do need to specially build him and then a comp around him in order to actually take out those tanky comps. So just keep that in mind for Vance. And then Santis, who's gotten a small nerf to hit her Cursed proc specifically. Her ratings have not changed at all. You weren't even using Cursed proc in every single area of the game. Sometimes I would run Revival so that she's extra tanky. So really the nerf has not affected her at all. And then another one will be Hackron and Rickard. So Rickard I've been using in Void Tower. Absolute monster in Void Tower. Monster in Endless Trials because you can reset the ultimates and such. And great for Guild Boss. He's just an absolute crazy character. And honestly, the nerfs have not affected him nearly at all. The only thing that has affected Rickard in regards to his nerfs is like soloing pieces of content. But for Void Tower purposes, the healing has affected him a slight amount, but he's still an absolute amazing Void Tower character, and the nerfs haven't really changed to him too much. Then we have Hackron, and Hackron is, in my opinion, perhaps the second best character in the game. I mean, if you just look at the ratings here, he's at 8.18, and the only person that's above him is actually William. So, I mean, by my ratings, William is the best character, and Hackron. But obviously, I don't think the overall rating is a good indication of how good a character is. But Hackron here is an absolute mainstay in so many teams, and he can be used in so many different areas. The only problem is that he tends to make a lot of comps slower, because if you're using a tanky comp, Hackron is a great character for that, but they tend to be slower. But for a lot of initial comps and all things like that, he is an absolute amazing character and absolute must build, especially for Void Tower. Then we have Nathalia, and Nathalia has not changed pretty much at all for me in rating wise. She has gotten a buff for me personally because I did not have William, and for those of you that do not have William, I think she got a buff in every single area of the game, and that is because if you use her in Ashe, for example, she's resetting her ultimate on cooldown on the imps. If you're using her in Endless Trail, she's resetting her ultimate there. If you're using her in Void Tower, she's resetting her ultimate there, and in campaign, she's resetting her ultimate there as well. So any area of the game that you really need her, at least from my experience, she's resetting her ultimate and allowing you to do more damage than previously. The one exception is if you were using her with William, she did take a small nerf. However, there are some areas that even with William, now you may want Nathalia and use her ultimate, and she's still even better. So keep that in mind for Nathalia. She is still an amazing character. And the last one I wanted to go over is Charles. And Charles is absolutely insane. He was absolutely, utterly broken before without the nerf change, whatever you want to call it. He is still an amazing character. And honestly, could be argued that he needs a nerf again, but he is an absolute monster character. He has like so much damage from his defense. He has 100% taunt on his basic, and do not forget about the 100% taunt because that is one of the most important things about Charles. And then on top of that, he never dies between his high defense and his massive shield. He is soloing content. He is an absolute monster for Void Tower and an absolute monster for arena defense. It's a really amazing character. Only problem is he's a little slower, as is with a lot of tankier characters, and therefore his ratings are a little low because you don't really want him in a lot of your comps. You want him in Void Tower, you want him in arena defense, and he absolute best in slot for a lot of Void Tower comps from what I've seen and experienced. So that pretty much wraps up all my thoughts on some of the changes. Obviously, there are some characters that I didn't go over, but those are like some of the more notable ones, at least from the patch, from my opinion. So if you are enjoying this content, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.